How's it going, everybody, and welcome to the third part of the countdowns of the top 10 Mega Evolutions that we 100% need in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes. Now, there are a few things I want to point out prior to this video starting. First would be that Diamond and Pearl remakes are not 100% guaranteed, and they have not been confirmed yet, so please keep that in mind. This is not 100% guaranteed to happen. Also remember that this is my own opinion, and that if there is Pokemon from Gen 4 that are missing in this list, they might be in my previous 2 episodes, so please do check those out instead of instantly starting to complain down in the comment section, because, you know, in the 2 other episodes, I have maybe perhaps put the Pokemon that you want to see. For example, Darkrai might not be in this list, but it might be in one of the other 2 lists, so I want to point that out so you don't get instantly mad, because a lot of people seem to get triggered by these things and their Pokemon not being in the list, so please keep that in mind. And finally, I want to point out that these designs were all made by some crazy good artists, and I want you all to check them out in the links down in the description, because without them, this video would not be possible. But that's all for the introduction, and now all I can say is, let's get right into this countdown video. Number 10. So starting off this is going to be Bronzong, which is essentially one of the main reasons I think Diamond and Pearl remakes are coming, and I'll explain that in the future in a theory video, as I have a few ideas to why we might be getting Diamond and Pearl remakes and why they possibly will happen because of Bronzong being in, you know, Sun and Moon, because of one reasoning, and I'll explain that in a future video, theory video, and essentially a video regarding, you know, Diamond and Pearl remakes. That's not what we're here to talk about today. Either way, what I want to show you guys is, for those out there who love Bronzong, we have ourselves a design that I feel like Bronzong would really fit with, and having this Pokemon as a Mega Evolution with this design would be incredible. The creator of this design really made it look amazing, and when it comes down to its actual like stat increases, it is described to have an increase from 89 damage to 112 on base stats essentially, and a small increase from 116 to 120 in defense, as well as exactly the same increases of its special defense. But what I gotta say I love the most about this thing is its increase from 33 speed to 80, which is pretty darn neat, I've gotta say. Now, if you look past the stats and don't think about the statistical stuff, I do feel like the design is actually incredible, and changing the colors around fully is actually insane. This thing is essentially a giant freaking bell, you know, balling around, and having it like this would actually be really cool. Either way, let's go to number 9. Number 9. Now, next up is going to be the purple monkey known as Ambipom, and the reason I put Ambipom on this spot is mainly because of the fact that this is a very cool Gen 4 Pokemon that I feel really could work like really well with a cool Mega Evolution. And here we have a really sick design by Tommy Case, who created a Ambipom design where Ambipom receives an extra arm, as well as changes to its general body, or I mean tail, or whatever you want to call its actual arm on the back and whatnot. And also it kind of gets a face paint look great, like kind of a face paint change and whatnot. That really does look great, and overall just the general body changes a bit, and they, you know, get a few extra colors, a bit of rework, and in general actually looks really nice. And I feel like I use the word general too often. Either way, the overall design of this thing actually looks pretty darn good, and I can imagine how this design would work in an actual game, considering the level of, you know, detail that is put into this, and it really looks like a real thing and a real Mega Evolution. As for, you know, stats and whatnot, I think an increase in speed as well as attack would be great, and overall, I feel like that's what you could really do with Ambipom. Increase its speed and its attack stats, and generally, it would be a good Pokemon to use, and a Mega Evolution would be perfect, especially with this sort of design. Either way, let's go to the next one. Number 8. Now, next up is going to be the legendary Pokemon, Giratina, and now you may wonder, why is it so far down on the list? Well, I thought, considering it is a very big legendary, I want to give it, you know, kind of a lower spot, because there are other Pokemon, you know, that really I think should get Mega Evolutions, because, I mean, Giratina is already badass. No matter what you do to Giratina, it will still be one of the most badass and huge things ever. It is literally one of the coolest Pokemon of all time, so give it a Mega, really, I mean, would just make it even cooler, but then again, my point is, that's why I put it so far down the list, if you're getting salty about that. Either way, let's get right into talking about this thing. I feel like this actual design here, more like a primal version, or maybe a Mega, I don't really know what you want to call it, having this design here by High Shirey, which would look honestly insane, would be perfect. It looks spectacular and just overall beautiful. And honestly, I just love how it's based around this portal and the arms just sticking out of it. And as for, you know, when it comes to stats, and if you look past the design, I feel like this actually would have an increase in special attack and just attack generally as well. And overall, I think that this would be a cool Mega Evolution to get. The design is perfect here. I love it. And also, the stats would be pretty interesting to see. And I feel like a primal reversion or just a Mega Evolution, whatever you want to call it, would actually be pretty neat. Either way, let's go to the next one. Number 7. Now, next up is going to be the Stinky Pokemon Skuntank, which is a Pokemon that I think was one of the coolest from Gen 4, but that also could potentially be an amazing Pokemon to have a Mega Evolution for. And with this design here, where Skuntank is essentially standing on its back feet, we see how the potential of a Mega would actually look like, and honestly, I do love it. As for what I think stats would have on this thing, I feel like an increase in attack and speed would probably be the best thing to do, and overall, I don't really know what else to say about this thing. It actually looks really, really cool as a Mega Evolution, and overall, like a generally good design. And then again, here comes the word generally again. I feel like I overuse it, but my point is, it does look like a generally good design. There we go again. So many times I use that word, but either way, my point is, I love this design. I feel like it would be really cool to have. Either way, let's jump over to the next Pokemon. Number 6. Now, next up at number 6 is the Pokemon that I think could have one of the cutest and most amazing Megas on this list, and it's going to be Mega Megasis. This design here by Nurbayron Nohoshi shows that what a potential of an actual Megasis Mega really could look like. Now, I'm sorry if I butchered the name, I'm really sorry to the designer, but seriously, this is actually amazing. This design adds flames to the top of Miss Megasis' freaking hat and side parts of its body, and I think those flames could potentially mean that it could get a fire typing when it's essentially Mega Evolves, and perhaps giving it like stuff like Flamethrower and whatnot and other, fire type moves would actually be really cool and generally kind of make it strong. And as for stats, I think an increase in special attack and special defense would be the best choice to go with. And overall, I think this is one of the sickest designs on this list, not because of, just like, oh, it's Miss Megasis and I want to say it's sick. No, it's because it actually looks really, really cute and really cool in general, and I love just the way it actually is made. It just looks really badass. But then either way, let's go to number 5. Number 5. Now, coming next is going to be Mega Spiritomb, which, wow, this thing looks incredible. The creator, Please Gaia's Rebirth, made a truly amazing piece of art here that I think looks pretty darn amazing. Having Spiritomb essentially receive arms and a body, and the stone that it comes out from essentially cracking fully, and the spirit coming out in its full glory and its full body actually looks incredible. This is seriously one of the coolest designs I've ever seen, and probably the best thought out idea I've seen on this actual list, because cracking the stone is just the perfect design choice. I love it. And as for stats, I think an increase in special defense and defense in general would be great for this thing, and making it super tanky would really be incredible. I would love that. Overall, I love this design. It is probably one of the coolest ones on this list, and that's why I want to put it on number 5. Either way, let's go to the next one. Number 4. Now, coming up next is going to be the beastly Pokemon that already looks badass in its normal form, and it's going to be Bastiodon. And having this design right here on the screen, made by the Angry Aaron, who made Bastiodon into more of a dinosaur kind of Triceratops design, looks really amazing. Having it this sort of design would be perfect. And I could only imagine what this thing would be in a competitive scene with its increase in defense from already having 168 defense at base stats. It would make it one of the most tanky Pokemon ever if it actually got a huge increase with its Mega. It would actually be so strong to have in your team, actually defending itself. Like, honestly, this would be just mortally badass. I cannot even explain how this thing would be in tankiness. It would actually be insane. Overall, it does have a sick design. I like that he kind of went for a Triceratops design, ladies and gentlemen. It might actually work really well for it. I don't really know. I don't really know what this thing could look like in a Mega. I feel like this is probably the best design I would actually come up with myself. A Triceratops is not a bad freaking thing to base it on. I mean, it's a goddamn dinosaur. Who doesn't like dinosaurs? I think it looks cool, and that's why I'm going to put it on number 4. You deal with it. Either way, let's go to number 3. Number 3. Now, next up is the queen of them all, and it's going to be Vespiqueen, which we have a sick Mega Evolution design here from Dart19, or D-Art19, whichever you want to call him. He's an amazing designer, and this thing looks pretty darn nasty. Not in a mean way, but in a good way. I mean, damn, look at this girl. Look at it. She looking like a true queen. Now, the reason I love this design so much is the colors around its neck that make it look like a true old school fashion-ass queen. I think it just looks perfect. You think of Vespiqueen, it's a Vespiqueen, looks good and whatnot. But then you see, bam, this shit. Look at it. It's beautiful. I love it. Either way, I do think this is one of the coolest designs on the list. I love Vespiqueen, and having this sort of Mega Evolution for it would actually be really, really cool. I think maybe what they could do as well for the design, maybe add a few of the bees, around her. Just have a few bees just, all around around her pretty much, just like literally flying around her. It would look pretty cool. I think, I mean, it would work. She's essentially a, you know, bee queen, which would make sense, so I would like that. Overall, I feel like also having increases in its defense would be great, and having this thing in your team, you know, with that tankiness would be pretty darn good, and I do love it. Either way, let's go to number 2. Number 2. Now, next up is going to be 3 Pokemon on one single spot, and it's going to be the trio from Generation 4. We have ourselves Azelf, Uxie, and Mesprit. And all these designs here are just amazing. First, we have a design here by the Drawing Blonde, whom created a Mega Mesprit that looks freaking majestic. I mean, just look at the design. It just looks like Mesprit, you know, just looks a million times more royal and just more like cool and just like I said, majestic. It looks majestic. That's what it looks like. It looks beautiful. I think that Mega Mesprit could have a nice little increase in most of its stats in general, like its attack and, you know, special attack and whatnot. I feel like that could work. And then we have a design by Fatmon of a Azelf that makes Azelf look fierce and ready to battle any opponent thrown at it. And with that body and overall rework, it would actually be perfect. It does look like a proper Mega Evolution or Primal Reversion, or whatever you want to call it. If you look past the design itself, I think the same thing goes with this Pokemon. Definitely having a nice increase in most of its stats, like, you know, special attack, special defense, whatnot, maybe even a bit of speed. I don't really know. As for, you know, statistical stuff and competitive stuff for these Pokemon, I'm not sure what it would work well on them. Either way, if we look past that, then we have ourselves a design again by the Drawing Blonde, which is going to be Uxie, and this one looks pretty darn cute because we keep the normal attitude of Uxie being kind of tired and whatnot and just having its eyes closed and whatnot, but on the side note, we receive an overall larger and better design to it that fits perfect for a Mega Evolution. And I gotta say, as for all these designs, they all look great, and I think Megas for the trios would be a great thing to come. But now, that's going to be end of number 2. Let's go to the final Pokemon on this list. Number 1. And finally, we have the one and the only Mega Gliscor at the number 1 spot. And this design made by Fatmon, who decided to give this Mega Gliscor a flying and steel typing, really looks insane and would change the normal move pool of the Pokemon and probably increase its attack and speed stats. I really feel like having a boost on this Pokemon would really be cool, and just imagine a steel type and flying type Gliscor. It looks insane, it looks cool, and this design in general is beautiful. I love that he decided to leave the purple pattern of colors and whatnot and go to a black color of patterns, which just looks so freaking cool, man. It reminds me kind of a bat, and I do like that. It looks just generally badass, and I feel like adding the extra features on top of it and just making it look overall just like a cooler Pokemon really is nice, and I feel like this would be the perfect Mega for this Pokemon. I'm excited to see if we do get a Mega Evolution for Gliscor in the future. But guys, that's going to be the end of this video. If you all enjoyed that, smash the like button below, and also check out the designers who created all these artworks down in the links in the description. But that's going to be it for me. I will catch you trainers the next time. Bye bye.